welcome back to my channel. So as you can see, it is spooky season, which is my favorite time of the year. I am so excited. So we are doing my October TBR, but first I want to check in with how I did in September. So in the month of September, I had these 7 books to read plus an ebook, and I managed to read all of them except for 2. So the 2 that I didn't end up getting to were Deal with the Devil and A Heart of Blood and Ashes. These are definitely 2 books that I want to read at some point, but I just ran out of time this month. So then the ones that I did read, I will quickly go over, but I have videos up for all of them. So the first video that I posted this month was my BuzzFeed quiz chooses what I read, and those were Girl Serpent Thorn and Mexican Gothic. Girl Serpent Thorn I gave 5 stars. I absolutely loved it. And then Mexican Gothic I gave 4 stars. The first half was really boring, but the second half definitely made up for it. So if you want to know more of my thoughts on both of these books, I will link that video. Then I did a video of reading books from genres I don't like, and in that one I read When No One Is Watching by Alyssa Cole, American Royals by Katherine McGee, and The First Sister by Lyndon A. Lewis. This one I gave 5 stars. It's definitely a new all-time favorite book. I'm so obsessed with it. American Royals I gave 3 stars. I don't think this book was really for me. It wasn't particularly bad. I just didn't really enjoy it. And then When No One Is Watching I gave 4 stars. I thought this was a really great thriller, and I'm excited to read more of Alyssa Cole's thrillers. So yeah, if you want more thoughts on these 3 books, I will link that video. And then the last book that I read, which I did talk about in a video that is not going to be posted for a while, and that was Well Played by Jen DeLuca. This was the sequel to Well Met. I'm not going to go into like my full thoughts on it because you'll see that in a video eventually, but I was very excited for this book. Well Met was one of my favorite romances of last year, but I ended up DNFing this book at like 80%. I was really close to the end, but I was just over it. I didn't really enjoy it, but I am still excited for the next book in the series because it's following 2 characters that I'm excited to see a romance between. Okay, so now onto my October TBR, which is probably my favorite TBR that I do in the entire year. I pulled out all of my spooky, horror, creepy, gothic, thriller, mystery, like any books with those vibes I pulled out and I put onto this TBR cart. As always, I'm going to be choosing my TBR challenges out of my TBR jar. Here are all of the challenges that are in the jar. If you're new here, I have a bunch of challenges in this jar. I have hyped books, I have booktubers' favorite books, just a bunch of different challenges to help me select my TBRs. There are a couple books that I know for sure I will be reading this month, so I'm gonna hope and pray that I'm able to fit them into this TBR. So the first one that I'm picking is this one, most recent purchase. So my most recent purchase was The Library at Mount Char by Scott Hawkins. This is actually one of the books that I am reading for a video this month, so I'm really glad that I picked that challenge. I got this off of Thrift Books, and it literally just came a couple days ago. It follows a woman who has spent her life locked away in this library, forced to study under this man who calls himself a god. It says she's seen her share of terrible things in those years, even died a few times herself. This kind of gives me like Umbrella Academy vibes, but I don't know. This book is one that has always intrigued me every time I hear somebody talk about it or I see it in a bookstore, but I've never actually picked it up, so I'm very excited. I'm also very excited for the video that I'm doing with this. The next one is owned for more than 3 years. I think that these 5 are the ones that I've owned for more than 3 years. I remember having a lot of these in my freshman dorm room, which was like 5 or 6 years ago. So I've definitely owned all these for a long time. Which ones do I want to read? I don't think I want to do Night Film. I know that this is very popular, but Maplecroft, this is a horror book about Lizzie Borden, who is a monster hunter. That's a possibility. Okay, we're gonna put that one in the maybe pile. Mirror Image, I was sent this, I think, by the publisher, and I don't know anything about it. I'm gonna assume it's a horror book about a mirror. Kind of gives me Oculus vibes. No, I'm not feeling it. The Strange Case of the Alchemist's Daughter, I do really want to read this. So that goes in the maybe. And then The Dead House, I've tried to read this a couple times. I'm still not ready to unhaul it yet, but I don't know if this month is the month for me. So I've narrowed it down to these two. And I think I'm gonna go with Maplecroft because I've never heard anybody talk about this, but it sounds really cool. I also think it's sapphic. So like I said, basically it's about Lizzie Borden, but the explanation for why she kills her parents is that they turned into monsters and she's a monster hunter, which just sounds very cool. I'm so excited. I've literally owned this for so long. It's time to finally read this. Next, we have this one. Oh my god, I was hoping this wouldn't come up. Someone Else's TBR. So basically for this one, I watch TBR videos until I find a book that's on someone else's TBR. But the problem is that I try to only pick books that I already own, but then I'm adding this extra level of selectiveness in that I only want to read books from this TBR cart. So now I just have to hope that somebody in my feed has a book on their TBR that's also on this cart. I feel like the odds are more in my favor because people tend to read these types of books in October. All right, I'm just gonna open up the first TBR that I see, which is, oh my god, why has no one posted TBRs? Today's the last day of the month. Okay, Chloe from Books with Chloe is the first person that came up, so, oh my god. Wow. Her look is amazing. She put us all to shame. I'm sitting here like, my makeup's kind of nice today. Oh my god, why does she look so good always?
And the next book we're planning to bunny read is Bunny by Mona. And I actually don't know too much about this.
Perfect. She has Bunny by Mona Awad on her TBR, which is great because I was hoping this one would come up. This book, wow. I don't know what this book is about. I've been informed by many people not to read the synopsis. I know that it's weird. I know that it's kind of like Mean Girls meets The Craft. That's it. So I'm very excited for this. I'm also very excited that I was able to find a copy on Depop because this is a very expensive book. Even the paperback is super expensive. So I like wasn't gonna buy it, but then I found it on Depop for like a reasonable price. So far this TBR is looking pretty good. Thank you, Chloe, so much. I was worried I'd have to watch a bunch of videos. All right, the next one is, okay, Booktuber's favorite. So very self-explanatory. I pick a book that, it doesn't necessarily have to be like an all-time favorite of a booktuber, but something that they have loved and recommend. I could do Ninth House because I know that is a lot of booktubers' favorite. I could do Lock Every Door. Actually, I'm gonna do The Strange Case of the Alchemist's Daughter because a couple weeks ago I was in a live show with Megan for Meg with Books. Someone in the comments asked us to recommend underrated books that we love, and this was the one that she was raving about.
The vibes of this, oh.
Like I showed earlier, I've owned this book for a really long time and I never even really knew what it was about until she started talking about it. So basically, this follows the daughters of a bunch of different like classic gothic characters. So we're following Dr. Jekyll's daughter and Frankenstein's bride. I think Sherlock Holmes and Watson are in here. It's just like a blend of all of those classic like Victorian stories, and it just sounds so good. She made it sound amazing. I'm gonna pick this to honor Meg. The next one I'm gonna pick is, oh no. Okay, I picked Rainbow. So for this one, I have a color wheel app on my phone, and I basically just spin the wheel and then choose a book that is the same color. Pretty self-explanatory, except I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a new wheel and only put the colors that I have here. Otherwise, I feel like I could be spinning it for a long time and not get any colors that I have right here. Okay. I made the new wheel. I have significantly less colors than I normally do. I only picked the ones that are represented here. So I'm gonna spin it. Okay. We only have one pink book and it's Lock Every Door. So if you watched my giving Popular Books One Last Chance video that I posted a couple weeks ago, which is a series that I do where I read the first couple chapters of books that I'm on the fence about and I decide if I want to keep or get rid of them. And this was one of the books that I read and I ended up keeping it, and a lot of people in the comments had very strong opinions about this book, whether it was good or bad, and whether or not they thought I would like it or hate it. So I'm excited. I was very intrigued by it, by what I read, and I wanted to keep reading, so I'm very excited that this one came up. Let's do one more. Okay, so we're gonna pick this one. Oh no. No. I picked Goodreads, which for this one, I open up my Goodreads and I scroll until I find a book that's on my TBR. Normally, I would be happy to get this challenge because it's fun and it leaves the choice up to other people. But again, I'm working on a limited selection, so I don't know how well this is going to turn out, but we're going to try it. Again, I'm hoping that because people are in the spooky mood, that maybe I'll find something. All right. Nope. I could be scrolling forever. Oh, wait a minute. Was it really that easy? Thank you, Mina. I don't even think Mina, I think it was just because Mina liked somebody else's post about this, which is why it came up in my feed. You know what? I'll take it. So this is Plain Bad Heroines by Emily M. Danforth. I won an ARC of this in a Goodreads giveaway, and it comes out on the 20th of October, and it honestly sounds like my perfect kind of book. So it is The Favorite meets The Haunting of Hill House, and it's centered around a cursed New England boarding school for girls, and it is queer. I think it's sapphic. I'm just like, oh, hello, what are you? What is this? The kind devil comes to New England for his lessons. Okay, I'm gonna have to read this later. I didn't even know that was in here. So yeah, I'm so excited for this. This was definitely a book that I wanted to read this month, but it is chunky. It is over 600 pages, so I'm glad I could fit it onto my TBR. All right, so here are the 6 books from my TBR. I am so excited for this. I genuinely feel like all of these books have 5-star potential. So that is going to conclude this TBR video. I have a lot of spooky content planned for this month, so definitely keep an eye out for all of that. I'm just so excited and I cannot wait to read all of these books. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!